Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tuesday Notary Titans. Today is Tuesday, February 3rd, and we are so glad that you have joined us today. My name is Jen Neitzel. I'm the creator of Marketing for Notaries and the 5 Point Marketing System. I am joined by the one and only Laura Bewer of Coach Me Laura. How are you doing today, Miss Laura?
Much better than the last time. So I am super fine today, and I'm glad to be on the call and can't wait to hear our attendees' questions.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, as if you are a regular attendee, you know that we are supported on this call by Mr. Matt Miller with the California League of Independent Notaries. Matt, what is going on in San Francisco today?
It's a sunshiny day, but it's still a bit cold, so we're still wearing beanies and sweaters, but we're here for the call.
That's it. That's right. This is appointment I would say TV, appointment Zoom, I guess, every Tuesday, right?
Mhm.
Thank you guys for taking the time to be here. And I want to give a very special welcome to anybody who's on the call that has never joined us before. This is TNT, the nation's longest running free coaching program for notaries. And to everybody watching the replay on YouTube, hello, and thank you so much for spending time with us later in the day. So, what is TNT? Well, guys, you are stepping into a mastermind filled with experienced pros and smart, curious notaries who actually want to see each other win. Think of this as the play by play of the notary business. We go live every Tuesday to break down what's working, celebrate real wins, and coach you through the strategies that keeps your business moving forward, not stuck on the sidelines. So we are here to answer any questions you have, and all you have to do is raise your virtual hand, which you'll find right at the bottom of your Zoom screen, just like Tom just did. And we are going to get to his question in just a few minutes after announcements. But feel free to go ahead and get in line now, guys. Excuse me. We do answer questions from chat, but of course, we give priority to those who raise their hands. You can see the chat for uh, room etiquette, any rules, any announcements, or any of those things that you might need. And also check there for any upcoming events that we talk about. Now, let's get into a couple of announcements, and I want Laura to start us off with that today. Because you may not have heard yet, but she has released a new book. And if you work in medical facilities at all, you need to hear about this book. So, Laura, tell us about your newest book out there.
Well, thank you. Yes, it's only been out about a little over 60 days.
Hmm.
And it's helping notaries left and right. I'm so excited. So if you're doing hospital, hospice, or homebound signings, the Compassionate Notary is the field guide you need. I wish every notary had it before they walked into those rooms. And it's about doing the work well and protecting the signer and protecting yourself from the time you park till the time you're done. So if that sounds like work you may be interested in, or you're already doing it and you'd like to know how to better protect yourself in these assignments, then you might want to check that out. And it's available on Amazon, and also you can get to it through my website, coachmelora.com, for those who are listening later and don't get to see the chat. That would be the other opportunity, coachmelora.com/books. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. It's a fantastic book. I highly recommend it, you guys. And Matt has an event coming up this week. Matt, tell us about the Clean Roundtable.
Thanks, Jen. Yes, our monthly roundtable will be this Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, and we're going to talk about a few more notary bills across the country that have been introduced, what they are and how they affect you and your business, and how you can make your voice heard on them. We'll also talk about an update on the California notary fee cap increase bill. And we're going to give a mini lesson on how you can get involved with your state's legislature and affect policy change that helps notaries serve the public more effectively, and that sort of thing. So if you've already registered, guys, don't worry about re-registering. You'll get a reminder email the day of the event. But if you have not registered, please go to calnotaries.org/events and sign up, and you will get a registration email with the Zoom link. It's free and open to all notaries live.
And all notaries across the country, you do not have
Yep.
to be a California notary to attend. So if you are interested in learning more about legislation and how to affect change in the notary industry, I highly encourage you to attend. And I did put the link in the chat for you guys if you've not registered before. So you can go ahead and get registered. And you do that the first Thursday of every month, correct?
Typically, it's the first Thursday of the month unless there's some sort of holiday conflict.
Yeah, yeah. Well, moving on, I want to remind everyone that we have a new email going out to remind you about TNT every week, but the link hasn't changed. The link is the same. If you're having trouble finding your reminder link that comes out an hour before, take a look in your promotions folder if you have a Gmail-based email account. Their Gmail has decided to organize things for us, and sometimes that reminder email gets pushed to the promotions folder. If you need to set up a repeater on your calendar, you can do that and plop the link in there because, guys, this link will be the same all year. We have no plans on changing it this year. And lastly, I want to remind you if you are interested in working in the estate plan field as a notary trust delivery agent, Laura and I are giving a free webinar talking about the opportunity in estate planning for notaries. That is also going to be on February 5th. It's at, I forgot to write down the time. It's at 10 a.m. Central. That's 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, 8 a.m. Pacific.
I hate time.
Bright and early for us in
I
California.
know, I hate time zones. And if you register at the link in the chat, if you can't make it, you will get the replay for free. And if you attend the webinar, you will also have an opportunity to get 40% off the program, which is exciting. Okay, guys, that is it for our announcements today. So we want to get to our questions and look at Tom. He's got his hand up, he's ready to go. He's in New Mexico. Tom, what can we do for you today?
Well, this is probably a story in stupid, and I share some of that stupidity, I guess. I do loan closings, and I agree this was early. I guess I'm looking for advice on maybe how not to be so stupid next time. I'm not a lawyer. I agreed to do a loan closing early last in December, and so it involved driving into the mountains, and I get to the location, and nobody's there. You know, I can embellish the story a little bit. There was barking dogs, etc., but then no one's there. I have no cell coverage, nothing. You know, so I drive 15 miles back down off the mountain to the local village there, where there's a bar that has a Wi-Fi zone, and I call the title company and I ask them, you know, what's up? And they tell me, oh, we found someone else. We found another notary who can do the loan closing at the Starbucks 10 minutes away from where I live. And they've agreed to come down there. Well, um, it turns out that they needed a witness as part of this closing. And this is my bad, I guess. I thought that here I am in New Mexico. I thought I could serve as my own witness to this loan closing and sign in the area where it says witness, as well as sign the area where it says notary. Well, they told me when I called them that, oh, you couldn't find a witness, and so we turned it over to somebody else. They're now doing the loan closing at the Starbucks 10 minutes from where you live, etc. So I was very frustrated, and I called the title company and I said, you know, hey, I never heard back from you guys, you know, no text messages, no email, no nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, what's the deal here? You know, I'd like to get paid for at least this big road trip I did into the beautiful, beautiful mountains of New Mexico, you know, and well, he said, we'll be in touch, you know, basically he was saying, you know, good luck with that or something.
Hmm.
But I talked to him today, and he finally agreed to pay me half of the fee for the travel, the gasoline, et cetera, which I slewed him for, you
Hmm.
know. But I guess my question is, you know, this they needed a witness for the Florida paperwork, even though it was in
Yeah.
New Mexico. I thought that I could serve as my own witness, and I guess it's just my stupidity, but I felt like I could have brought these folks into that area in Jemez Springs where we could have easily found a witness
Hmm.
at the loan closing. And but I felt very frustrated, and he waited till today to talk to me about this more than 2 months after the fact. Anyway, I feel like, there's a risk for us notaries sometimes to get stiffed for our fee, and like the other thing I see
Yeah.
is there's a lot of title companies that are taking their sweet time and paying us, late in the month after the month that we do the service. And so maybe I just wanted to ventilate more than ask a question. This is my first time
Well, that's
here.
okay.
That's
I'm
okay.
sure I'm sure there are a lot of notaries actually on this call who have experienced either or of those situations that you have described. And for new notaries who maybe have not experienced it yet, you will.
Yep.
It's going to happen. Now, our goal is to make sure it doesn't happen very often, to like mitigate um, what creates that situation. So there are a couple of different things I want to unpack about what you talked about. First one, let's just talk about witnessing. All right, you have Florida paperwork. We know that needs a witness. Um, Matt, because I don't have New Mexico in front of me, are they a state? I don't recall them to be that prohibits a notary to be a witness. Oh, you're muted, hon. You're muted.
Not that I'm aware of. The only state that I'm aware of that has definitive language on that is Colorado. They do
Oh.
not allow notaries to serve as document witnesses.
So the thing is, so Florida, they want a different witness from the notary because I've done their paperwork. So yeah, so that was oops for you because you really need to have another person. And if did you communicate with them? I plan to be the notary because maybe I plan to be a witness, the witness and the notary. Then they might have been able to say, well, no, you need to have another witness. We need another person there. And maybe that could have changed your plans. But it didn't happen. But now you know that you want to, sometimes you want to ask these extra questions up front. The second part, which is, negotiating to get something, you made this long drive. And fortunately for you, they did agree to pay you half. A lot of signing services will do that. I've had to do that. I've driven out to Patterson, which is the area was about 45 minutes away from me, and they wouldn't open the door. They were there, but they wouldn't open the damn door. And I'd spoken to them like just 15 minutes before on the phone, confirming I'm almost there, blah blah blah. Um, and they were afraid to open the door. So this wasn't a loan signing; it was a different kind of assignment. It was like a legal assignment, and they even had a problem. I called right away, and in any case, they couldn't get these people to open the door. They were afraid to talk to anybody. And with things going on in the world the way it is, I certainly can understand that. Uh, but then I had to negotiate a travel fee and said, look, here's what I did. I printed documents. I traveled 45 minutes one way. So that was an hour and a half of my time, plus another 10, 15 minutes sitting there trying to get them to open the door, talking to the people. So I had a lot of time in there, even though I couldn't accomplish anything when said and done. And I requested 50% because I knew that would cover at least the minimum for me. And they said, yeah, absolutely. So if you are a notary who is being hired by a third party, like a signing service, they tend to know that they call it a trip fee. But not every single signing service has that arrangement. So you want to make sure up front, hey, this is a long drive for me and I'm happy to do it. If I get there and it falls apart, do you have a trip fee policy? I'd be asking for the first time you work with them, do you have a trip fee policy? Our policy is we'll pay 50% if it's not your fault, right? That happens. So that's another question you might want to think about for that. And then, I always thought that title companies, when it's a title company direct, that, hey, I'm going to get paid probably in 7 to 10 days, which is a fallacy. I'm not going to get paid in 7 to 10 days. I mean, it could happen, but typically they're like 30 days because there's all these things that are happening, trailing behind the closing that are happening either simultaneously or after us. And then they've got to make all those disbursements. And so a lot of times it's going to be more like a 30-day. When, a long time ago, it was 7 to 10 days. Boom, I got paid. But it doesn't seem to be like that anymore. There seems to be these holdups for them as well. And then remember, signing services, if they're in the front seat, they're waiting. They could be waiting a month to get their money before they can pay you. So that's going to then extend that into that 45 to 60-day window. So if you have a long term relationship with some signing companies, and that seems to be where they're at, then I wouldn't worry about that. That's just the time frame of it happening. If you've never worked for them before, I would be asking,
Hmm.
what is your turnaround time? Because I don't want to pester you for payment. If your normal turnaround time is on average 45 to 60 days, then I don't want to bother you about that till day 61, right? So that you kind of know when it's appropriate to say, wait, this feels late, this feels long. So those are just a couple of the things, learning lessons that I had as a new notary, is to make sure I know if they have a trip policy and what it is, ask what their turnaround time is, and um, asking more questions about the package, especially about witnesses. I'll ask, does this require witnesses beyond the notary in this package? And then, because I know what my rules are in California, which are probably similar to yours, there's nothing that addresses it, but it's not a best practice. As a matter of fact, it's not recommended for you to ever be that person. There may be extenuating circumstances that may prompt you to have to be both, but it should really be last resort. So I wouldn't plan in the future to try to be both because it's just not a good idea. Okay,
Well,
I don't know if Jen or Matt want to say anything after
I,
all that type.
I want to piggyback for just a second, Tom, because I just want to point out a couple of things that came up in the chat. So you may have read them or not. And I think the most important one is you're not stupid. So please
Yeah,
don't say that. Again, you're not stupid.
learning.
Unfortunately, I mean, clearly that title company was not very professional with you, or that signing service is not was not very professional. They should have called you and canceled the appointment. That didn't
Yeah,
happen. That's one of those lessons where you have to kind of file it away as well. Now I know that's how this service does business, right? So now you know going in for the next time. But Diana Hansen pointed something out that I wanted to remind you about too. And every one of us gets a big, ugly, ridiculously long instruction package with those loan closing documents, sometimes up to 100 pages of just instruction. So you really want to, especially when you are doing an out of state closing from where you live and you're not familiar with the rules of Florida or whatever state, you really want to make sure you comb through those instructions. If you have the documents beforehand, I understand sometimes it may just be 5 minutes before closing that you just don't have time. But if you're able to really look through that and um, it, know what you're getting into so that you can go in asking those questions. But I feel like you got lucky with
yeah,
having, 50% being given to you for the drive. And
yeah.
even more valuable than that, you learned some really good lessons, that you won't repeat in the future. And trial by fire, unfortunately, sometimes
It
is the best
happens.
way to learn.
Yeah.
That's what happened here. Matt,
Sure.
do you have anything that you want to add?
I think you guys covered it pretty well, but I think the 50% fee is a pretty good win.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do.
I would
I
say,
I
especially
do.
after the fact.
Absolutely. What a great question. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
that's so good.
And yeah, don't take it on the chin too much. Um, they participated in the breakdown of this as well. And you're
Yes, they
right.
did.
It takes us too long to get paid through loan signing companies. Okay. Um,
I see
Da-
Daniel, and
Daniel, and I just say I'm so glad you're here.
me
Thank you for
too.
being here. I'm so glad you're feeling better and you're home.
I'm feeling a little better. I'm not feeling great, but I'm bored. So
So you joined us.
I thought that, hey, something I can do at 12 is come and join my friends here.
Yes,
I know a
absolutely.
handful of you here on this call are friends of mine, and Laura actually asked me for I had a bypass surgery last Monday, and so Laura actually asked for me to reach out personally to her as soon as I had my phone on, and I did. And thankfully, Laura, you were there for me so that I could, and you could tell anybody you needed to. I don't really have a question because for the month I am off, but I am not retiring from everything, and I wanted to remind everybody that Notary Masters is finally done with all of our holiday breaks. And
Uh-huh.
we're going to be having our Notary Master Speakers Bureau meeting on Thursday. And it's the former Notary Masters Toastmasters Club. And we actually will have a new member giving his first icebreaker speech. So it's Thursday. I'll put the
Yeah,
link in the
yeah,
chat, please. But we're going to get back with that. Our theme this time is hearts, flowers, and beads. Understanding, of course, that we both have in the next week, not this week, but next week, have both Valentine's Day and Mardi Gras in the same week. So we're going to be just getting back into if you guys are really struggling with confidence at these signings and going into things, we're just a bunch of people that get together twice a month. You can come for free. We are noted. Oh, thank you very much, Jan.
You're welcome.
Save me having to type it. Uh, and uh, just get a bunch of us and uh, Jen and Laura are both members as well as when we were back in Toastmasters World, like a Toastmasters meeting, we kind of broke away because we were seeing that we had different needs than that, but that was good. Still same group. And so, anyways, I want to bring that back. That's going to start back. Our meeting is the 5th. I see Michaela there, my good friend who gave me some really nice wishes this week. Also, since Jen and Laura and Matt have all, in the last couple of years, entered the book world, I wanted to just make a plea out for the Book of Customer Service. I will tell you that the hospital I just came from, thank you, there it is. People have it. The people I know that have that don't need to necessarily read that, the people at the hospital I just came from, they actually were wonderful. And I will also say that the uh, most of them recognize me because I've done so much work up there. So
Oh, that's
it was,
interesting. Yeah.
I
yeah.
was up there and they go, "No, aren't you our notary?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, actually, I am."
Not today.
Hopefully I will stay, and it's been really good. But I just want to thank everybody here. I do have some questions. I wanted to reach out for a minute about Tom's question. Hey, Tom, just write this down. If it's a Florida signing or a Louisiana signing, figure out the witnesses because those two states are a B
Mhm.
word. They are horrible when it comes to witnesses. And whenever I hear witnesses on my signings, I just go crazy because I can't. I pay $50 a piece for a witness. So
Yeah.
I have a group of friends, about 10 people, I can call to say, if you want to be a witness, and then I pass that along. It's cash. I pass that along. If somebody says they need me to provide witnesses, here's the deal. About half of them say, sure, it's no big deal. I'll add that, tack that extra 100 on. Some of them will say, well, I can get my neighbors for that cost. Also, and I know Laura has or actually talked about this before, and Jen has, is if you happen to end up at a Starbucks, people are nice. I mean, hey guys, we're signing some documents here. Well, can we buy you a coffee? And if you don't mind helping us out witnessing, they'll do it for nothing. They're happy to help.
Yeah.
So when you get stuck on those witness things, but whenever I hear the W word, I'm kind of like, okay, well, here's how I'm doing it. But once I established, and I didn't want to be that guy that wanted to just jack prices onto my fee. But Laura told me after I do it about 3 times, I will have no problem with it. Because half of them, if they don't blink and say sure, then they could afford it anyway. And if they do and say, well, you know what, I'll just get my neighbors or some friends,
Better.
then you don't have to worry about it.
You don't have to
So,
worry about it. Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
think it's a good advice, Daniel, to you read those instructions, you figure out, you're going to need a witness. You're going to have to adjust your invoice for that. If you're paying
Yeah.
witnesses anywhere from, $30 to $50 a pop, that should not come out of your profit. So that's an excellent point. We're so glad that you're back and doing better.
thank you.
I've got the Toastmasters or the Notary Masters, I should say, link in the chat if you guys are
Yep.
interested.
I,
Um,
last thing I wanted to say about stuff was the on the witnesses. Tom was I forgot. Oh well, you know what?
that's okay. If it comes back to you, raise your
It's
hand.
good to be home.
I'm
It's
glad
good
you're
to
home.
have all of you
We're
around, and
glad you're
thank
back.
God I'm on the West Coast where the weather hasn't been great, or has been great compared to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Um,
You didn't get stuck in ice, so
it's
thank
been
goodness,
well,
right?
I've been on the ninth floor of a hospital, so I could kind of see the weather all transpire.
Yeah.
Uh, and
Well,
it's
we're
not.
glad that you're healthy and
I,
and
I,
and
I
and
do want
back.
to thank all of you. Your thoughts and prayers reached me, and will continue to. And I will, as you hear me say every time, gratitude always reciprocates, and this is one of the
Right.
best communities for it. Thank
That's
you.
exactly right. That's exactly right. Thank you,
Thank you, Daniel.
Daniel. I wanted to address a question that popped up in the chat as we were talking through Tom's question. And it's from, I hope I'm saying this right, Risen. And they said, how would we know Florida needs a witness if the company that assigned us the loan didn't tell us? Are we supposed to research each state's laws to know what they are? So,
Well,
Laura,
there's only about five, I believe, for loan signing specifically, 5 states that require witnessing for their deeds. And Florida's one of them. And I would love to tell you, I remember the five off the top of my head. The other ones are like south and east that require that witness. Another one is North Carolina requires witness.
Louisiana.
Yeah, so that's two of them. Yeah, oh, Georgia, there's three. Yeah, so there's only five. So if you're a notary and you became certified through the NNA, through Notary Stars, through Sign and Thrive, through whatever, that information should have been provided in that training.
Mhm.
Now I know I have a couple people. I mean, I don't know if I have Kimberly, but I see Kirsten and I see Manuel was here. He might not be here now. Manuel and I see
Here's here.
Amy. I
Mhm.
see three people from Notary Stars.
Guys.
And I would love one of them to share if they happen to know off the top those states that require.
I can, yeah, so it's everyone said it in the comments. Connecticut, Georgia, Louisiana, South Carolina, and then Florida for conveyance deeds
That's right,
only.
only. Yeah, they
Yep.
changed.
Yep.
So
And
guys,
that's
write it down. Save the chat or write it down.
And
If
I
you
want to
just
point
finished
out,
it,
yeah, I want to point out you need to be reading the instructions, even though a lot of them are similar, even though it's very repetitive, even though it's boring as hell. You need to read the instructions because that's where you will catch this stuff
yeah.
instead of flipping over the mortgage paperwork and seeing, oh crap, I need witnesses and I don't have them, and then wondering, what to do. So it's very important that even though all of them pretty much sound the same, especially if you notice you have one coming in from a different state, to familiarize yourself with that, because
Yeah.
of course you're not walking around knowing other laws from other states. That's why you come to places like this to learn about it, right? So, anyway, make sure that to answer Ryzen's question, that is it. That's how you know. You read the instructions. Okay, and now we know all 5 states that require witnesses. All right, who else has some questions for us? Guys, raise your virtual hands. And while you are doing that, I'm going to tap into
Well, while
one.
you're doing that, Jen, tapping into that, I just want to say, a lot of us do more than loan signings. And there may be other kinds of documents that require witnesses outside of the loan signing world. And it's not for us to know every document in the world that might need one. But what I'm going to tell you is those documents typically have their own instructions that say witness and, right? Or no instruction, which means you better get witnesses because they're not telling you not to get them. Or the signer can direct. But just know this is not an issue limited to loan signing work, and that the instructions for any document are your best friend ever. And
Yeah.
I always look for instructions when I'm presenting a document and I see witnesses. I say, where are the instructions that go to this? So that I can help them. Oh, I see right here it says you don't need them if you have one notary, or it says you could get by actually with 2 witnesses. You don't even need me. I mean, I try to be very transparent about what's happening because I don't want them to find out later and then, well, how come the notary didn't say anything about that?
Yeah.
And remember, the signer, I'm talking really about direct work that you handle outside of loan signings. Your signer is more involved in that, right? When you're being hired by a signing service to take care of something, they're the person you're going to go to if you don't see it in the instructions. When you're doing direct work, then your signer can play a bigger role in that direction.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I want to go to one of our submitted questions. So this is, I'm not sure who this is from. It says, I want to improve my LinkedIn page and Google business profile. However, I need more guidance and I can't seem to find the right source to guide me in doing this. Do you have advice, a course, or a tutorial to offer? So whoever submitted that question, thank you for submitting it. And I want to tell you right now, we mentioned their names a little bit earlier. Notary Stars has an extremely robust program for any topic under the sun. You guys know that Laura and I have partnered with Notary Stars to kind of fill in about their estate planning work since we've managing that with CNTDA. But they have trainings. I mean, oh my gosh. I mean, just listen to this. It's it's insane. From how to become a notary public and set up your business and the essential tools and supplies you need to capacity and competency, uh, intro trainings, all things notary, member notary training, weekly meetings. I mean, they have all kinds of resources and training, including Google Business Profile. So if you would like to check out Notary Stars and the different things they have to offer, any of you guys want to check them out, I encourage you, please do so. Tom, did you have another question for us?
I do, and I hope I'm not being considered greedy for asking this, but do you have any recommendations for becoming a remote online notary especially with special regards to loan closings?
I'll start my answer. I don't. I am a Texas notary. I had my Ron commission. Yeah, I just never used it here with loan closings. It wasn't, I built my business around direct relationships. So it wasn't necessary for me. So I am not the best person to ask, but I know someone who is, and she just raised her hand.
That's who I was going to go to.
She just raised her hand. It's like she's reading my mind. Like she knew I was going to call on her. Tom, this is Amy Curtis. She is with the remote online notary network that is also affiliated with Notary Stars. So I'm going to let her answer your question.
Hi, Tom. So when it comes to real estate and online notarization, we run into a few extra roadblocks that we don't run into when you do in-person work. And that is that the electronic signatures on a mortgage are not as valuable to the bank when they go to resell that loan. They don't get as much money. Think like the stock market. They can get a dollar for an ink signature, but they're only going to get 80 cents on the dollar for an electronic signature. So that makes it harder to do real estate with online closings. Doesn't mean it's not possible. I've been doing them all the time for the past couple of years. But purchases, refis, those are the few and far between. You're probably going to see more seller packages, more cash buyouts, or more just the ladybird deeds other than the actual finances. Unless you get into a company like Amrock or, um, oh, there's a couple of others that they just process their own documents. In that case, they're the underwriting authority, so they can do that. But if you're dealing with like signing services, online sessions are going to be more apostilles, it's going to be more general notary work, permission slips, affidavits, court documents, not necessarily real estate documents. Does that make sense?
You're muted, Tom. There
Oh,
you
Yes,
go.
there.
yes, it does.
Yeah.
Uh, and it seems like I was told I got the certification in New Mexico for remote online. I was told when I got the training that this is the only thing I know is that the signature online is more secure than a wet ink signature. And I forget what the reason for that was, but they said that an online signature is more secure. I would think that that would add more value to the documents, but
Not
that's
in
just me.
today's world, Tom. With AI and deepfake technology,
Yeah.
electronic signatures are losing their value quickly.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Fraud,
helpful. Thank you.
defraud is
An epidemic.
literally complete, I mean, like crazy on the rise. And that is how mortgage companies make money on their loans is selling them on the secondary market. That's where the bulk of their money comes from. So of course they're going. Most of the ones, will insist on the wet signature so they can maximize the value of that loan that they're going to turn around and sell. So that's kind of the theory behind that. But yeah, deep fraud is really
Problem.
it's a problem right now. And so seeing somebody and being able to tap into a notary to say, did you see this person sign this document is valuable right now with all the fraud that's happening. Matt, do you have something you want to add to that?
No, I think
Okay.
we've covered it.
Anita had a question in the chat. She said, I'm glad we're discussing Ron. I'm curious how to charge on Ron. I have my certification, but I've not chosen a platform. How do I know how to charge for a document, Amy Curtis?
Amy,
Well,
come
you
back.
know, I'm back. I've got two Ron sessions that I'm piggybacking on. They haven't
Oh,
joined yet, so I have to keep turning my camera
oh.
off because I keep opening the sessions back up. Anyway, um, I actually taught that last Friday in my class. So you've
Mm.
got to think about what your state law allows for per notarial act, whether or not you can charge a technology fee. If you're signing with multiple signers, the software is going to charge multiple fees for each signer. If there's multiple notarial acts, there's multiple charges there with the platform. If you've got someone coming in with a credible witness, that credible witness you have to pay for to bring them in. And if you're in Virginia, you have to bring in two if you don't know the credible witness. So you're going to want to itemize all of the things that the software platform is going to charge you and then see what you can charge through the platform or independently. But you're going to want to make sure you itemize just like you do in person. This is for the notarial act. This is for the ID verification. This is for the document prep, which is like tagging the document, things of that nature. You don't want to just say a bulk, oh, it's $75 for one notarial act. That's going to look bad on you. You know what I mean? So make sure you itemize it out.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much, Amy.
Mhm.
I tell you how awesome it is to be able to have a partnership with all the experts over at Notary Stars and you guys coming to our calls. We appreciate it so much. Who else has a question for us? All you have to do is raise your virtual hand and we will ask it for you or answer it for you. Oh, I thought that was a hand up. Let me go back to our questions then and open this up. Sorry, just everything on my computer just like decided to shut down. I guess it was using too much power. Okay, Laura, here we go. Bear with me one sec. I don't think we have answered this question yet. We might have, so if this is a repeat, I apologize, but this is a California state specific question. And we have, a lot of California notaries on this call. It says, in the state of California, are you allowed to take a digital ID from the DMV as satisfactory evidence to verify the signer's identity, or does it have to be a physical ID card like a driver's license too?
So, yeah, we have answered it. It doesn't mean it's not worth answering again. And California says we have to have the hard card. And when they get the motor vehicle, and it's actually like it goes into a portal directly to the DMV, and you're pulling up information. Um, they're told they must continue to carry the card because it may not be accepted for certain things. So if you're in California and you've got one, or you know somebody, you have a signer who has one, know that that is not going to suffice. You still need the hard card. I haven't heard
Thank,
anything new on that. Have you, Matt? That's
No, nothing new.
yeah,
No
that's
digital
it.
IDs for now, because
yeah.
that's going to require a law change.
hmm hmm and again, that plays into the whole fraud thing. It's a little scary, right? There's
Yep,
so many.
could
I
be
mean,
fakes.
you don't even know if I mean, you're just sitting there scrolling, right? And you don't even know if what you're looking at is real or AI anymore. So,
Yeah.
obviously nobody wants that level of uncertainty when it comes to verifying someone's identity on a document. But my friend Michelle here in Texas has a question. She said, "Are there other places besides the NNA to renew our commission bond and E&O insurance?"
Sure, there are lots of places out there that you can do all of those three things. What the NNA offers in particular is, of course, one-stop shop. You get it, all the things you need in one place, which is very convenient for those of us who are on the road all the time doing other stuff. And then you just stop one day, do everything, and you're done. However, there are other uh, companies that will I want to say the Learning Center is one. There are other ones that actually are approved to handle the 6 hour or 3 hour training. They have to be approved to do so.
So
Uh,
that's
and there's
California.
a list. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
California.
Michelle's
And
in
then,
Texas.
yeah, it depends. Now, if there's no training mandated in your state, then of course, I don't know where you're going to get that because not every state I don't think every state requires a bond. There are some that still don't. Um, so the short answer is yes, and you'll need to Google that because frankly, I'm a proponent for the NNA, and I believe they have the best training. Even in the states that don't require training, they have at least a minimal training to get you started.
Yeah.
And I do love the convenience. And I love their E&O because they have what's called tail coverage. And a lot of the policies you'll find cheaper elsewhere, they don't tell you that as soon as you stop paying a premium, you're not covered anymore. That's it. But for the E&O policy at the NNA, if you were a paid policyholder at the time that you perform the notarization, you will be covered, even if you're not a notary later. And this is important because we know many times lawsuits happen 3 years, 4 years, 5 years after the fact or longer.
Yeah.
So that's my recommendation.
Yeah. And look, here's the deal too.
Yeah, seal the deal.
You can go
I'm
see, yep. You can go, you can order everything manually directly. Renew your commission through the Secretary of State, renew your E&O and your bond through, merchants bonding or whoever you got it through. You don't have to go through the NNA. It's just
Yeah.
convenient. And membership in the NNA brings so much more than just, them getting you your stamp and your commission. It's all the certificates that you can print out for your state that are state specific. So it includes all the language that's necessary to make that notarization legal in your state, as well as all the cool member benefits that come with it as too, and the discounts and things like that. So I'm doing a commercial for the NNA, and I don't mean to, but there are other places that you can read. I would do a quick Google search, Michelle, to see, or you can just go directly to the source.
Jen, somebody, Melissa put seal the deal, but I think it's actually Notary Academy. Seal the deals or signing service. Notary Academy is the educational arm, and that's Kimberly Sennett.
Mhm.
And Notary Academy has training for California notaries. I don't know if she has training for other states, but for the mandated training, she has an approved course.
Kimberly, are you on the call? I haven't seen
I don't
her.
think she's on. I looked for her today.
Okay. She'll come sometimes, but yes, all great information. Matt, do you have anything to add to this? Okie dokie. Rachel has her hand up. Hi, Rachel. What can we do for you today?
Hello there. So
Hi.
I have started really hitting it hard, getting into signing services and trying to get out there and do loan signings.
Good for
Have not
you.
had one yet. But one thing I've noticed is there's some signing services, like if I go to their webpage to try and check them out, um, it doesn't seem like it's been updated in a long time. I don't even know if they're active. Are there any tips and tricks you guys have for figuring out if some of these places are still even in business?
My first thing is pick up the phone and call and see if somebody answers. And if you don't get an answer, move on. Because of the rise in interest rates over the last several years, unfortunately, a lot of signing services have gone out of business. So you're right to be a little suspicious. But I think picking up the phone and calling and maybe finding out, asking the question, what can I do to get to be an approved notary for your signing service? It does a couple of things. It reassures you that they're still in business and gives you an opportunity to ask some questions. Like Laura was mentioning earlier, their pay scale or their pay timeline, I should say.
Yeah.
It'll give you the opportunity as you're talking to them, do you pay within 30, 60, or 90 days? And if they say it's 90 days, maybe you don't want to work with them. So why fill out all the paperwork, right?
Hmm.
Um, so I would, ask a few screening questions yourself so that you're finding those signing services that pay you well and fit into what you consider to be your ideal client. Do you have anything to add, Laura?
No, I was thinking about some of those screening questions, and one of them is avoid if they want you to sign anything, avoid any language that says exclusivity, because you need to work for as many different companies as you can, and you cannot be exclusive to one.
Yeah.
I don't see
Yeah.
that much anymore. It used to be a thing, but I'm not really seeing it now.
Mhm. Yeah,
I suppose
definitely
it's,
read what you're signing before you sign it. Absolutely. I'm sorry, Rachel, go ahead.
oh, that's fine. I was saying this kind of, it actually kind of answered my follow-up question was how to improve my chances or frequency of seeing jobs if it's a job board or getting those text messages pushed to our phones.
So
So,
are you on like signing orders? Are you on Notary Dash? I mean, these are platforms where jobs are
Yeah.
posted.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm on those two. I'm on probably about six different things right now. I'm adding more every day.
okay, Unlimited Ink is another one. You want to check that out.
Mhm.
And what was Kimberly's?
Seal the Deal is
Seal the-
Kimberly's.
Thank you.
Sign the
Thank you.
deal.
Notary Dash is
Seal the-
another one.
Notary Dash.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one. Signingorder.com, find
Signing
a
orders and
notary.
Notary Dash aren't really signing services. They're a platform where you can see jobs and get them. Whereas like Unlimited Ink and Seal the Deal and some of the other ones are actual signing services, traditional signing services.
Hmm. So I just want to be clear, Rachel, when you're talking about being new to this business
Yeah.
and working in loan signings, it's a little bit more of an uphill battle right now. Because there's a lot of signing agents that have already spent the time building relationships, and there's not as much work coming from. Um, it's getting a little better, but it's
There's
not
an
like it
uptick
was.
going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's an uptick going on. Absolutely. Absolutely. But there's not an uptick in what they're paying a lot of times. So that's where, you kind of butt heads. So I just wanted to point out to you, Rachel, that if your marketing plan is to rely on signing services, you're just going to have to get used to that cycle of them putting out mass text messages, and whoever answers first gets the job, and the pay is not going to be like you were working direct with somebody. If you want more pay, you need to consider going direct and building your know, like, and trust factor that way. Does that make sense? I feel like I don't want to
Well,
tick anybody off that has a signing service, but I mean, I think it's important as an industry that we level set our expectation that, the loan signing work is not as easy as it was 4 years ago.
yeah, COVID time. But I would say this, there are a lot of very good signing
Yes.
services that treat their notaries well, that pay appropriately, that pay in a reasonable amount of
Mhm.
time. And it takes a lot, you got to kiss frogs before you get to the prince. So um, just know that there are signing services that are worth having a relationship with and taking work from. And it's not about the quantity of signing services, it's the quality of the ones you have that when they're good like that, they can feed you work. And that I think, when I started, it wasn't about that. It was sign up for as many as you can find out. Sign up for every single one, whether you know about them or not, just sign up everywhere. Shotgun approach. The thing is some of them were deadbeats and they, had you work and then they didn't pay you.
Hmm.
Others had other issues. They asked you to do things that were not exactly legal. So there were a lot of issues. So I would be choosy. And I would, how we might be interviewed, we should be interviewing them. How long has your company been in business? Um, uh, Perhaps what are the different kind of files? Do you handle all the different kinds of files going on, or do you specialize just in certain kinds? Do you have any educational component to your signing services? Because Unlimited Ink does with Notary Stars, Seal the Deal does with Notary Academy, because that tells me they're interested in the notary getting better, being more competent and confident. Because when you do great work, it reflects well on them, right? And they're going to want to use you over and over again. So I see it two-handed. One is I need to be the most competent notary I can be. And the other one is I need to do a good job at selecting those that I want to work for. And that does take time.
It
And
takes time.
sometimes you're going to hit a frog and then you're going to have to say, you know what? They're not my customer. I need to move on. I need somebody else.
Yeah.
There's one I recently came across that when I went to visit their website, I got a potential signing from like signing order from them. It had already been taken, but I went to go check them out. On their webpage, they literally say it's so hard to work with notaries, they can be so difficult. And I'm like, why are you disparaging the people who are going to bring you, who are
Yeah.
actually going to do the work that you do? So it's like I don't even want to take anything from them, but because it's somewhere like signing order, like I know there's probably, oh, this person's done X number of signings kind of thing that like maybe I just need to suck it up for a while. But I don't know. That's just a
Well,
decision I
you do
need to make
both.
at some point.
You have an
Hmm.
alternative. You have an alternative. You can put a marketing plan in place,
Yeah.
and start building, those relations. And you can do both, work with
Yeah.
signing services and in person. It doesn't have to be one or the other. You can work both lines. Either way, it takes time to build relationships. People aren't automatically, they don't automatically trust anymore. And I think you saw that just by, like you said, they're disparaging the notaries that keep them in business right on the front of their webpage. That's probably not the kind of company, that you want to work for. So think about, when is it time for you to start scaling, right? And getting out in your community and building your know, like, and trust factor there, and building relationships around town so you don't have to worry about signing services as your main source of income.
Very true. Thank you so much, everyone.
You're welcome. I know that's a scary thought. That's a very scary thought, and I appreciate that. I teach it every day. I'm just put this in the chat for anybody who does need a marketing plan. Come hang out
Well,
with
and
me.
maybe you could just take a minute, Jen, to mention your book, which is a marketing plan, a relationship driven one.
It is. Do we have that link, Matt, on the sheet? Thank you. Matt's going to put that in the sheet. So, Rachel, if you want to read about the 5-point marketing system and how it helped me, and many, many others, definitely go check it out. It's going to lay out for you exactly how you build relationships with folks in your community. Thanks for the plug, Laura. I appreciate it. Our last question today comes from Anita. Hi, Anita.
Hello, how are you doing?
Fabulous. Tell us what state you're calling from.
Arizona.
Okay, what can we do for you?
So I've been doing this for a couple years, kind of like as a side hustle, and I want it to start going full time. But what
Awesome.
I'm noticing that's happening, so there's two questions actually in this one. So what I'm noticing that's happening is that when the fees are being lowered, and I'm being told by agencies, signing agencies, you should just go ahead and accept those lower costs. I said, well, for 2 or 3 years, I've been working for example, 125 for this type of thing, and they're offering 90, and I just really don't like that back and forth going, having
Yeah.
to say, hey, this is how much I charge. Someone will say no, and then someone will just kind of ghost me for a while. So I'm wondering how to avoid that. That's my first question. The second question is, I've heard on several from several, just watching different people, about a blacklist, like if you can be put on a blacklist. And I'm like, if they're putting us on a blacklist, then just to be fair, I mean, you guys were talking about the good notary agencies, the deadbeat ones. I mean, where would we find that? And what about the blacklist? Are we blacklisted? Is there a way they can blacklist us, or they just blacklist us on their company, not on a whole thing? So those are my two questions.
So I'd like to take the first question,
Yeah.
which is being offered a lower fee than what you believe is appropriate for your work. And they can offer the lower fee. You have a choice to make, which is to accept it. And maybe the circumstances of that particular signing fit, but a lot of times it doesn't. And if it doesn't, then you might want to say, I get this is the budget right now, and I'll tell you, I have a budget, and my budget is 125 or whatever it is. And so that's what I can do this for. And I would restate all the things they're asking you to do for that assignment, which is going to be printing a lot and traveling and not just notarizing documents. You got to sit and orchestrate the entire assignment, and that includes presenting the documents and collecting or non-notarized signatures. Then they might also ask you to scan back documents or get delivery by a certain time. So all of these activities are built into the assignment, and I think sometimes they forget that there's quite a bit that we're being asked to handle. And so as a business owner, you need to decide, am I going to draw the line in the sand and say, you know what? It's not worth it for me to take that job because either I just break even at 90. I'm not making any money. And you know what? I know they're in business, but I'm in business too. I'm not a charity. I'm in business. And so, it takes a lot of fortitude, internal fortitude to turn away work that doesn't match. I did that. And there were a lot of calls that were like, fine, we'll get somebody else. I heard it. Nope. We'll find somebody who can do it. But after a while, it did come. It did come to me that they would say, okay, we can do that. Now, part of it is I had a good reputation in handling the work. Part of it is they couldn't find somebody else for that amount of money. Part of it is they just needed a notary and they've got to have one and they're just going to have to suck it up. There's just a lot of reasons why I started to get the yeses. But once I got the yes, it was like, yes, this is okay for me to determine what my fee structures are based on my costs, which aren't the same as everybody else's cost, based on the circumstances required of me in this job, right? I may say, I normally get 125 for this kind of job, but let's hear the circumstances. Is it in my neighborhood? Do I not have to print two sets or is it a small package? Right? There are sometimes circumstances that make it the exception, and then I would negotiate that. Yeah, okay, I get that. How about this? How about we just call it 100, and I'll do that for you because it fits. So I want you to feel that you are in the negotiations seat and that you can drive it. That you don't have to just accept or somebody else is setting the price. They're just throwing out the offer.
So this is what we mean when we say not everybody is your customer. Sometimes you have to say no. And I hate to be the one to do this, guys, but we are past our time. And I know you guys have more questions for us. And please, please, please bring them back next week. We would love to continue this conversation as always. This has been a very, very good session. So, Laura, as I do every week, I put you on the spot to close us out. And again this week.
Let's see. I'll pick from one of my many.
Make
Um,
it short though, because we're over.
you got- um, the strategy to finding a great opportunity is different than the strategy required to make the most of a great opportunity you got. So
Ooh,
think about that. It's two different strategies.
that's a thinker, guys. Have a
The thing-
fabulous week, everybody. Bye.